At 9:21 tonight, it will be the 21st minute of the 21st hour of the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century. What will you be doing? Well, now I'll have to watch the clock. So I guess that's what I'll be doing. Just change the time on your clock to 21:21 now so you don't have to wait at it. Just realized I can do this with the date as well. Can't wait to relive this moment with my grandkids one day. They'll be so excited. I missed it. I was going to sleep, but I guess they'll be waiting for an hour. It is 11:21 right now this exact second, so there you go. I guess I was group watching a movie online in Discord and having a drink. Well, over 3 hours ago. Also read this at 9:3242 reply share report 7 or replies, looking at the clock at 9:32. I read this at 9:32. Oh, same. Apparently I rang in this momentous occasion by texting a friend about Bernie's mittens. Looked at the clock at 9:32. Read this at 9:32. Who? Shouldn't we wait for the 21st month to do this? Shit. Now we need more Roman emperors to add months named after themselves to the calendar. Lousy smart weather. My fucking dumbass was like, wait, he is right. Did I post this pre-21st month to Karmahor by sneakily removing 21st month until I realized 21st month doesn't exist on file. At 9:21 tonight, it will be the 21st minute of the 21st hour of the 21st day of the 21st month of the 21st year of the 21st century. Gold. We can do it again in the 21st week. Lousy smart weather. Humble poor award for this bright comment. Or 21st week. Surfing Reddit. Yeah, me too. But I did have cat restraining me on the sofa, so not much else I could really do. Sleep. Hell ye brother. Sleep. Tata said 2 hours ago. I didn't even find this post until it was after 9:21 because I was sleeping. Epic 15. Reply share report save continue this thread. Well, it's the 22nd in Australia, so I guess I missed it. 22nd in entire world except for the Americas, the 2 continents, and probably few islands I don't know about too well. Oops, missed it. Still annoyed at op for not using 24 time though. Why don't we just start posting this at least the day before? Give the post time to get it as upvotes and include the whole world. Probably forgetting about it. Same. Whoever was born at 9:21 years ago is probably pretty stoked. I'm one of those people, sadly. The joy was kinda cock-blocked by COVID restrictions. The people born 21 years and 21 days ago are even more stoked. I wonder how many people, if any, are in the world born at that exact time. Bonus if it's 9/21/21 set. Yeah, but COVID made it so you can't go to the clubs, so that sort of sucks. That's me. I just celebrated my 21st birthday. Aside from the whole looming economic collapse and dying job market on the heels of mounting student loans, that is, a stoked. It is 22nd and 6 I was playing Pokemon 2. They still have Pokemon in the future. Future. It is already mid-afternoon on the 22nd here. I was probably doing housework. Yes, same. Doing a Nuzlocke run of Soul Silver. Brushing my teeth. I like you. You know how to party. Shit. Only 4 minutes to plan. Panicking. 4 hours ago. How'd it go? 4:36 reply share report save continue this thread. Working. Same. For a second I thought you said wonking. I was concerned, trying to sleep but instead staring at my ceiling having an existential crisis. You won't be alone in your experience. 21 Savage has entered the chat. 21 hours ago. Don't forget 21 Pilotsa 22 reply share report save. Is it the 9:21 during the 22nd her? Yes. You wanted 8:21. Also, 2021 is the 22nd year. So, they were a year and an hour late. I think what they were after was 21 to 2021. but kinda miscalculated. On a 24-hour clock it would be 21:21. I wish people would get on board with using the 24-hour clock. It is a whole lot less confusing than using ant and post meridian. Thank you. Can't believe how far I had to scroll down to see this. Really expected it to be the top comment. Masturbating furiously. Emphasis on furiously. Lol, same bro. I'm just about to get started. Yeet in my schmeat while the rest of you be watching. I read this in a drunken pirate accent. Strange. It was 4 minutes ago for me and I was indeed jerking off. This was the first post I saw after I cleared my history. What's the darkest secret you found out about a family member relative? When I was a kid, we went to my grandma's house every Sunday and all of my uncles and aunts would be there. One day I noticed that one of my uncles didn't show up anymore, so I asked my family where he is. They told me that he wouldn't be able to visit anymore because he moved away. Years later, I found out that he raped and killed 2 women and they locked him up. Well, much like Reddington, they didn't technically lie. He did move away a few years before he passed. My dad and I had a long heart-to-heart, at the end of which he told me he wasn't the one to first sleep with my mom on their honeymoon. He caught her in bed with her cousin with which she had been in love for a long time. He spoke with their pastor, who told him to forgive and forget. That worked until 6 years later, when he caught her again with the same cousin. 2 years ago, I found out that my dad had a wife before my mom, and she died in a freak accident on their wedding night. Edited. She was sleepwalking and fell to her death over the balcony, if anyone was wondering. That is devastating. Imagine having the best day of your life turn into the worst. My father tried to kill my mother while she was pregnant with me. Did he go to jail? A lot of the stories out here are sad, but shit. This was a rough one. He did not try to kill her, but my uncles kicked the fuck out of my mom's pregnant belly. The doctor said it was a millacre, it did not hit me. And funny thing, despise my mom saying it was not my father who did it, the doctor still called the police for him. Oh, and my mom put the uncle who kicked her on fire when he was sleeping next day. I have a very similar story. My sperm donor tried to kill me while my mom was pregnant with me. No other logical conclusion for him putting the boots to her very pregnant belly. Thankfully, she noped the hell out of there and moved half the country away so that he was never an issue again. I found out from my dad that one of my cousins isn't related to anyone in the family. My aunt and her mother used to work at a hospital maternity ward, and apparently a woman came in one day and gave birth to him and then left the next day without him. My aunt decided to adopt him, but a few months later the woman showed up again asking where he was. They both lied that he was given up and didn't have a clue where he was. I wonder what made her left. And what made her come back. Stepfather was cheating on mother. Didn't find out because he was caught cheating. Found out because he and his mistress were drunk, got in a fight, and he punched her so hard that she fell over and died. Found out about the whole thing during the investigation, the trial, and the conviction. There is strong debate in our family as to whether my aunt fell out of the window of her flat, whether she jumped or was pushed. She survived, but with brain damage, and says she can't remember. Something similar happened to my grandma. She remarried after my grandpa died, and his family was crazy over how it would affect their inheritance. They lived in an old farmhouse that had a root cellar that could only be accessed along one side of the house. She was standing at the top of the concrete stairs, and next thing she knew, she was at the bottom. She has no memory of how it happened, and she still has trouble differentiating colors from her injuries. She suspects it was one of his kids, but we will probably never know. My uncle tells the story that when he was a kid, his older brother wanted him to go out hunting with him in the woods near their house. They woke up really early and started walking much deeper into the woods than they usually did, and way off the normal trails they used. My uncle realized his brother was letting him get further and further ahead. He stopped and turned around to see his brother starting to bring the shotgun up in his direction. He asked him what the hell was he doing. His brother said, "Oh, I thought I saw something." My uncle decided to go back at that point. Later that week he went back and found a pit that someone had dug a bit further off the trail. He never went anywhere with his brother alone again. Edit. Holy shit. Did not expect to see all these responses when I got off from work. My great-uncle is a rapist that prefers underage family members. I don't know how many people actually know, but my grandparents certainly do, along with his victims, my mom, aunt, and I know at least a few or their cousins, but I'm not sure which. But then he found Jesus again, so we all have to forgive him and pretend nothing happened. It was before I was born, but that's the basic runaround I've gotten from my grandparents. They don't ever actually acknowledge it, just that Tony did bad things but he found God. I eventually put 2 and 2 together about my mom's history or sexual assault and her making sure that me and my female cousins were never left alone with him. And now that I'm in my 20s, that duty has been passed down to me at every family gathering. It's like an unspoken rule that you can't say why, just the warning, don't leave your daughters alone with him. I'm tired of it though. Tired of shooing little girls away and having to pretend like it's normal, scoping toddlers out of a predator's arms and acting like everything's fine and I'm just baby crazy. When this is all over, I'm not going to stay quiet anymore. The next time I have to around him, I'm taking children right back to their parents with the full fucking story of why it's dangerous. I found out that my grandfather's first wife before my grandma died of botulism from eating some tomatoes she had canned at home. She could have been saved, but he refused to take her to the doctor because the botulism was her fault. He let her die to teach her a lesson. Edit. They had 2 kids he left motherless, guessing she didn't have a choice in whether or not to be the one responsible for canning her own food either. I found out 2 years ago that my mother had a baby she gave up for adoption 18 months before she had me, and then had another baby when I was 3, and she also gave that baby up for adoption. All 3 of us have different fathers, and I think the only reason she kept me was because my father married her, but that marriage only lasted a year. My mother remarried when I was 5 and my half-brother was born when I was 7. As far as I knew, for 59 years he and I were our mother's only children. I never saw her pregnant with the second baby because she sent me to live with my great-grandparents across the country during her pregnancy. My mother and grandmother were the only people who knew about this, and they both took the secret to their graves. The only reason any of it was found out is because of all of the DNA testing people now do. This discovery really impacted my sense of identity for a while, my view of my mother, and our relationship. I've met my half-siblings, an older sister and younger brother. I like them and I'm glad I've been able to answer some of their questions, but the initial discovery really messed with me for a bit. My dad found out in his 30s that his dad wasn't his biological father. He got cancer, and they found out it was from his father's side of the family, and my dad asked his dad about it, and the truth came out. He knew that he was a year older than his parents' marriage, but didn't know his father was a different man because his parents were high school sweethearts. Apparently, they broke up when his dad went off to college and his mom dated someone else. When he found out, he found the guy and reached out. Turns out, Bio father had given my dad's mom money for an abortion and walked out. He didn't even know my dad had been born. He told my dad to never contact him again, and that chapter of his life was over. My dad has half-siblings out there that he isn't contacting because of the wishes of his bio father. Are your siblings anything like you? Did they speak good about being adopted? My biological grandfather threatened to kill my grandmother while she was very young and pregnant with my uncle. Long story short, he was engaged to someone else. My grandmother became a nervous wreck while pregnant and wouldn't leave the house, and he used to throw bricks through the window. Eventually, she told some of her friends about what he threatened to do to her. Shortly after that, he went missing, never to be seen or heard from again. We always kind of laughed and joked that one of her friends must have threatened him or ran him out of town. We would even go as far to say someone might have killed him for her. It wasn't until we were going through her boxes of photos and love letters we realized she was actually friends with the Cray twins. Cray twins. I'm very dumb and have no idea who they are. My uncle didn't have an aneurysm stroke spontaneously. Sorry. I'm not a doctor. He deliberately stopped taking his blood thinners. Dude was 63 with a wife, 4 kids and 15 grandkids, the oldest of which was 13 and the youngest was not even a year. He was just done. His wife doesn't know. His kids don't know. I only know cause I overheard the family doctor telling my dad. As far as I know, only myself, the doctor, and my dad know. As someone on blood thinners, this scares me. It is a reminder of how critical taking these meds every day for the rest of my life is. Stopping is disability at best, death at worst. I knew what I signed up for, though. Beats having open heart surgery every 10 years. My dad did this, although not because he was done with life, but he just hated taking pills and had no regard for his own well-being. My dad told me that, Before my mom and dad broke up, he hadn't been happy with her for several years. What? My mother even had a miscarriage at one point, which destroyed the both of them. But he couldn't leave her, because he was afraid that she would hurt or even kill herself. So his only thought was to have a kid with her, so that motherly instinct would hopefully prevent her from killing herself. Are you the child that resulted? What a burden to have to carry. I found out that my great-grandpa got away with murder. He thought that my great-grandma was cheating on him with her dentist, so he went into his office and shot him. He got away with it too, and they didn't find out that he did it until he told everybody before he died. A great-uncle went to prison for statutory rape. It only takes a few minutes around him to know he's disgusting. Sounds like a not-so-great uncle. But seriously, that is absolutely disgusting. My mom and dad decided to take in my 3 cousins because their mom got into a horrible car accident. 2 girls and 1 boy. The girls were 6 and 10, the boy 12. Fast forward to when the 6-year-old girl is 14 years old and is asked about birth control. She starts sobbing, saying her brother, the then 12-year-old, took her virginity when she was 6 and that it continued until she was about 13. We had no clue. How is everyone now? When I was about 10, I flew to Florida to spend the summer with my grandparents. I made friends with the boy at the end of their street. He had a younger sister, probably about 6 or so. I'll never forget them trying to persuade me to have sex with her. She was totally in on the deal. We were playing, but the 2 of them were acting suspicious. At one point she unclothed and laid down. I noped the fuck out of there. So weird. Thanks, Florida, for this weird memory. It is easy to hide. That's why the family had no clue. Don't blame. Oldest brother raped me when I was 10. He was 14. And it continued until I was 14. I found out my father raped my sister when I was 11 years old. She was only 7 when he was sexually abusing her. Is he in prison? I wish my brother would believe me, considering the FBI did, and my father subsequently went to jail for it and plead guilty. Even still, my brother blames me for tearing our family apart and can't see his child molester father for who he is. When he was arrested, he had something like 300 different photos of kids in his possession and tons of professional photography equipment nobody knew he had. I feel sad upvoting this kind of post cause the stories are so sad. I'm really sorry for you, and especially for your sister. One of my aunts raised another aunt's baby as her own. My mom had 4 sisters and a brother, all of whom got married and had kids, so I have around 20 cousins. Unfortunately, 3 of my aunts got breast cancer in their 30s. All 3 recovered, but years later the youngest, Maria, got it again and got it worse. Maria needed a bone marrow transplant. All her sisters and children got tested, but no one matched. The family then revealed that Maria had had a teenage pregnancy. Her first child was actually my cousin John, who had been adopted and raised by my oldest aunt as her second child. My great-uncle was murdered along with his wife. The murder suspect was run down and got stuck in a swamp, shot himself in the head. 200. The strange particulars. My uncle, his wife, and the murderer were all deaf mute. The murderer was renting a room from them. This happened in the 40s, and no one ever found the motive. 200. A few years ago, I took a DNA test and found that I had cousins who had descended from the murderer's wife. 200. Turns out my great-uncle was cuckolding him. It is like a horrible silent film. Sorry, this is honestly one of the more tame episodes of my family history. We were in Kentucky during the family feud times. My great-great-grandfather was hung for the double murder of an elderly rich couple, which in itself isn't all that interesting. 200. But just before he was hung, he said the following.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.